From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
And good morning to you and welcome to Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Megan Shin. It's 5 o'clock here on your Tuesday morning.
And I'm Rafael Sanchez, and these are your headlines on this December the 29th. A fifth COVID-19 vaccine has now entered phase 3 trials. Details on when that could hit the market here in Indiana and across the world.
Plus, millions struggle with mental health issues, and the pandemic has heightened those challenges for some. This morning, a local man is sharing his story and his mission to help others.
And with the coronavirus aid on the way, you may have some questions about what you should expect and when you'll see that relief. We're working for you, getting answers from a local tax expert. But first, as we welcome you in here on this Tuesday, we got to talk about what it feels like outside. Megan, I don't know about you, but it was a cold drive to work this morning. I was using the heaters, the seat heaters, everything that I've got.
I had my Uggs on, Lauren, and Rafael luckily doesn't have to go too far to get to his setup.
So I remember running to the door a couple of months ago, Todd, and looking to see how it would feel outside. Now, not so much. Now I just kind of, I look out the window and I go, yeah, it's winter in Indiana. Todd Clausen will take care of me. What's going on this Tuesday?
Yeah, I know. You know, back a couple months ago, we were still getting some 60s, some 50s, so it didn't feel bad outside. But yeah, we're locked into winter here this morning. And this week, though, is going to kind of be up and down temperature-wise as we round out the year and head into New Year's Day. We're going to have temperatures in the 50s, but there's a lot to get through before we get there. First things first, as you walk out the door on this Tuesday morning, skies are partly cloudy. Temperatures are cold at 22 right now in Indy, 21 in Lafayette, little more in the way of cloud cover still in Bloomington, and your temperature as a result is sitting at 27 degrees, and you can see that cloud cover here in southern locale. So obviously where the skies are clear, it's going to be colder this morning, but everybody needs to bundle up no matter where they are. A few snow showers across Michigan. Our next storm system, though, is this one off to our west. This doesn't arrive until late tonight for some of you, and then more so tomorrow for everybody, but it's going to mainly be in the form of rain for us as we get into your Wednesday. Today, though, is a dry day. The best bet for some sunshine is the first half of the day. As we get into the afternoon hours, the clouds will increase. Temperature-wise, pretty seasonable. Our normal high this time of year is 36 degrees, and we'll generally be right around that later on this afternoon. The thing is, tonight, though, temperatures do not drop off. They'll actually come up as that storm system heads our way. We'll break that down for you in more detail coming up in just a few minutes. But right now, let's get you an update on the roadways here at 5:02.
All right, Todd, let's take a look right now at I-70. This is our view here from our INDOT traffic camera at Sherman Drive. You can see traffic is moving along up to speed in both directions, eastbound and westbound. No problems, just slow you down. It's pretty quiet out there for this Tuesday morning, but of course we'll keep you updated. Rafael?
A good start indeed on this Tuesday, Lauren. This morning, Indiana is inching closer to an unfortunate major coronavirus milestone with just under 500,000 positive reported cases here in our state. State health officials say that 496,306 Hoosiers have tested positive for the virus. And that includes nearly 2,500 cases recorded between Christmas Eve and this past Sunday. As of this morning, the state's positivity rate, 11.5%. Of the positive cases in our state, more than 27,000 are being reported in schools. Those numbers come from the 1,886 schools which have reported at least one positive case. That's an average of about 14 cases per school that's reporting cases. Now, by the way, since the school reporting system is voluntary, 307 schools have not reported their COVID-19 cases to the State Department of Health, and 175 schools have reported no cases at all. To put this all in perspective, December has been the deadliest month for the Hoosier State since the pandemic began. This month alone, 1,762 Hoosiers have died with COVID. To date, the State Health Department says 7,539 Hoosiers have died with COVID-19.
Rafael, 2 FDA antibody drugs with emergency approval could help keep patients out of the hospital, of course, but thousands of doses are sitting unused across the country. And our partners at Newsies spoke with Dr. John Hammer, and he's an infectious disease specialist from Denver, Colorado. Dr. Hammer is currently waiting to start a study on Eli Lilly's antibody drug, but getting IV centers set up to administer the drug is proving to be difficult.
We have a place where we could do it that would be safe for providers and for patients, but we just can't get the staffing or haven't been able to get it up and running to date.
Numbers show of the more than 530,000 doses available, only a little more than half have been shipped to hospitals, and even less are getting to patients. Only 5 to 20% of doses have been used.
At 5:05, another COVID-19 vaccine could soon hit the market on Monday. Novavax announced it's starting phase 3 trials of the vaccine in the U.S. and Mexico. Those trials will have about 30,000 participants. They will be 18 and older and include people from different races. The company says that some people will get 2 injections 21 days apart. Others will get the placebo. Participants will be followed for 24 months following their second injection. The study will take place at locations with high transmission rates as well.
Good morning to Anderson, Muncie, and Kokomo. President-elect Joe Biden says he's looking to boost the supply of the coronavirus vaccine in the United States after he takes office next month. A member of his advisory board says he will likely invoke the Defense Production Act. That law essentially allows the government to make companies produce certain items in an effort to protect national security. The Trump administration used the move to increase ventilator production early on during the pandemic.
This morning, we're working for you, getting answers about the $600 stimulus checks. Eligibility is based on the 2019 tax returns. Full payments will go to individuals making up to $75,000. Each dependent child aged 17 and younger is eligible for another $600. Michael Jameson with On Target CPA says if you did not get a check the first round of stimulus relief, you could be eligible this time.
Let's say maybe your income went down. So maybe your income was over $100,000 in 2019. So you haven't not gotten to the stimulus checks in 2020 because of the pandemic. Maybe your income went down. Anybody who would qualify for the stimulus payment based on their 2020 tax return when it's being filed, they'll get the money when they file that 2020 tax return. So just because your 2019 information is, you don't qualify for it, you are going to get the money added to your refund or subtracted from your balance due when you file your 2020 return.
Of course, you can find more details on the stimulus bill right now on the WRTV app.
Megan, homeowners concerned with those 5G structures in their neighborhoods may get some help now from a state lawmaker who is paying attention to this issue. Many homeowners say they were blindsided by 5G technology. It's an issue that WRTV Investigates has been now following for more than a year. Let's take you to the North Willow Farm subdivision, which nearly has about 400 homes full of concerned residents. Verizon has already built 6 5G structures in that area and is planning another 9. Many homeowners are worried about property values and the potential for some health effects. They took their concerns to state lawmakers, including Senator J.D. Ford. Ford now plans to file a bill in the legislature in the days ahead. If passed, Ford's bill will give homeowners a bigger voice when it comes to the placement of 5G structures and the improvement of the notification process.
The big thing is that when you go through this process as a homeowner and you realize you don't have, there's nowhere to go to, there's no one to talk to about your concerns, there's no way to fight back. And so the fact that Senator Ford is taking this on is huge because for us it gives us this sense of that the system works and that our elected officials are concerned, they hear the concerns of homeowners, they take them seriously.
Now here's the other side of the story. CTIA, which represents the wireless industry, says on its website, in their words, typical exposure to 5G devices such as small cells attached to phone poles or the sides of buildings is far below the permissible levels and comparable to Bluetooth devices and baby monitors. To put this in perspective, 5G structures are going up because Senate Bill 213, that passed the legislature back in 2017. That bill authorized a massive rollout of small cell wireless structures all across our state. On this Tuesday, time now to check your forecast. And Todd Clausen, let me admit to you that yesterday I did not leave my house. It was simply, cold, right? So I just stayed home, working from home, and just never left the place.
Yeah, it's just one of those kind of cold and blah days. We didn't have any sunshine, right? And temperatures, as a result, didn't warm. So it was chilly from start to finish. Today, I do think we have a little bit of sunshine, at least the first half of the day. So if you do have to work, here's your commuting forecast. It's cold this morning. We're down into the 20s in most locations, teens in a couple locales here this morning as well. The thing you'll notice throughout the day is the clouds will gather. So this afternoon is going to be very similar to what we saw yesterday, with a temperature that'll top off right around 34 degrees. But tonight, our temperatures will actually come up a little bit as our next storm system approaches. And look at our high temperatures going forward. Tomorrow, we spike into the low 50s. Then the cold front comes through with the storm system and a lot of rain. We drop down into the 30s once again on Thursday, only to shoot back up into the 50s on New Year's Day on Friday. And then we'll finally settle into more of a seasonal weather pattern as we work our way into Saturday and Sunday. The storm system for tomorrow is off to our west. We will miss out on the snow. It's mainly going to be a rain event for us. We'll break it down for you in more detail coming up in Maine Weather here in just a couple minutes.
Todd, thank you. A global pandemic, social unrest, and the college admissions scandal. Coming up, we take a look back at the impact this year's biggest headlines had on the entertainment industry. The time right now is 5:11. We'll be back just after the break.
Follow us on social media.
Welcome back. It is 5:14 on your Tuesday. Millions of Americans still struggle with their mental health every day. Right now, the pandemic and the winter season is heightening those struggles for many people. WRTV's own Kelsey Anderson spoke with a Rush County man who's now working with his mental illness to help himself and others. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Lauren. So I talked to Drew Hahn, and he's from Rushville, and he knows the struggles that come with mental illness. After attempting suicide 3 times, he now is talking openly and honestly about his mental health in hopes that others will do the same. Hahn tells me he attempted suicide for the first time in 2012 after battling an undiagnosed mental illness. He says after his 3rd attempt, he got the help he needed and is now able to speak to others about his experiences. He says navigating this pandemic is hard for everyone, but for those dealing with mental illnesses, this pandemic plus the winter months and the holiday season is a very difficult time, and he asks everyone to work together right now and show some empathy.
When it comes to mental health, we just need to be practicing empathy all around, just for everyone, whether it be on social media, in person, and just be reaching out, just be there for one another, whether it be your friends, family, or complete strangers. We're all going through this together.
For Hahn, he says, besides talking to his therapist and family and friends, journaling is what has helped him get through this pandemic and now these winter months. He tells me he wrote a blog on winter depression, and I've linked that for you on the WRTV News app. Now, if you are struggling with your mental health, you can call in Indianapolis 317-251-7575 or text CSIS to 839-863. And of course, in an emergency, if you or someone else's life is in danger, you can always call 911. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
All right, thank you there, Kelsey. Time now is 5:16. It's a cold start to our Tuesday here all across central Indiana. Skies are partly cloudy at this hour, and we are dealing with temperatures where the skies are clear in the teens compared to mid to upper 20s still, where there's some clouds from Bloomington to Bedford, where the temperature is at 29 degrees, 22 officially in Indy, 21 in Richmond. That 21, a pretty common number there from Lafayette through Crawfordsville down into the Greencastle. Not much wind out there, thankfully, here this morning, but temperatures are still in the teens in a couple locations as far as the real field temperature goes, not factoring in any wind chill, though, in Indianapolis. But with these temperatures and the clouds that are out there in some areas, we're not going to see our temperatures climb much here for the next couple hours. We'll have to wait till after sunrise, which doesn't happen till after 8 a.m. rather. And then look how the temperature responds once we get some sunshine in here. As we get closer to the noon hour, we'll slowly inch our way back up towards the freezing mark. So So the skies finally cleared a little bit overnight, especially in northern locations. But look at the clouds already starting to stream back into the area. And the overall trend throughout the day today will be for increasing clouds. So the best bet for some sunshine is going to be here throughout the morning hours. And here's our storm system for tomorrow. The area of low pressure is going to track up into the Wisconsin area and then eventually towards Lake Superior. So that leaves us on the warm side of things. So you don't have to worry about much in the way of snow. It's mainly going to be a rain event as it starts to head in our direction for the day tomorrow. Highs today, though, with the increase in clouds, will be in the mid-30s, 35 in Kokomo, Petersburg at 36 degrees, about 36 in Indy as well. Martinsville, 38 degrees, 39 in Shelbyville, and right around 40 in southern locations, Columbus as well as Seymour. This evening, typically we see our temperatures fall off. Not the case here throughout the evening hours tonight and overnight. We're actually going to hold very steady, and then the temperatures will start to climb a little bit as we head into the overnight hours. Let's jump on TrueCast here to about this time tomorrow. So we're jumping 24 hours ahead. Could be a brief wintry mix in northern locations, but I don't think it's going to cause any issues on the roadways. Temperatures continue to climb. Then we just go over to all rain throughout the day tomorrow. I don't think it ever gets really heavy for us, but it's going to be a pretty steady rain throughout much of the day. It's not tapering off until the evening hours. So the daytime hours tomorrow, very, very wet across the area. And then as the colder air comes in, there's a few snow showers on the backside of the system, but we're not really concerned about that. We'll have to look as we head into Thursday morning. There could be a little burst of snow, but keep in mind the ground's going to be warm, the ground's going to be wet, so at that point any snow that does fall is essentially just going to melt away. So we're not looking at any accumulation. But it is a wet day tomorrow, but at least it's mild as high temperatures will be getting up to right around 50 degrees. That's the first storm system. There's a second storm system right on its heels. So we go back over to TrueCast for you. This is New Year's Eve. As we ring into the new year, rain will be overspreading the area. It could briefly start off as a little bit of freezing rain. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on if you are going to be out and about till midnight or shortly after midnight. But then we transition over to all rain as temperatures once again get into the 50s. Friday's another pretty wet day, at least the first half of the day. And we could see some flooding issues by the time we get to Friday with the 2 rounds of rain that'll be heading our way. But once we get past Friday, the first weekend of the new year, pretty quiet with seasonable temperatures in the 30s.
All right, thanks for breaking that down, Todd. Well, like nearly everything else in 2020, the entertainment industry saw some really big changes.
Oh yeah, Lauren, but the people making movies, music, and more still found ways to connect with audiences.
And David Daniel takes a look back at the year in entertainment.
Hollywood became a very quiet place in mid-March. With the coronavirus looming, studios postponed March releases A Quiet Place Part 2 and Mulan, beginning months of frantic rescheduling. Within days, U.S. theaters shut down, Billie Eilish and other musicians canceled their tours, and we saw the lights go out on Broadway.
Let's go save the world!
Universal was the first studio to break protocol, debuting Trolls World Tour on demand the same day it opened theatrically. That triggered a tidal wave as homebound viewers devoured new offerings on digital platforms and streaming services. Warner Brothers announced Wonder Woman 1984, delayed from June to December, would open simultaneously in theaters and on Warner Media's streaming service HBO Max, as would all Warner Brothers movies in 2021. Even without live audiences, musicians kept playing. Dropkick Murphys turned their annual St. Patrick's Day Boston show into a free live-streamed concert, the first of many artists to do so. Others, like Melissa Etheridge, live-streamed performances from home, some as fundraisers for concert crews sidelined by the pandemic.
We got 100,000 in the first day.
People also made their own music. Fender Guitars offered its Fender Play online lessons free, and nearly 1 million people signed up in the first few months. Video games boomed, with revenues rising an estimated 20% worldwide in 2020, fueled by such popular titles as Animal Crossing New Horizons, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and Among Us. U.S. Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez played Among Us online, racking up millions of views and raising money for coronavirus relief. The same week in March, everything began to shut down due to the virus. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson revealed they'd tested positive for COVID-19. Idris Elba and other famous figures followed. Most recovered, but not all. Among those the virus claimed, legendary musician John Prine at age 73, country music trailblazer Charlie Pride, 86, and singer-songwriter Adam Schlesinger, who was 52.
You get to decide what kind of king you are going to be.
The year's most shocking celebrity death was not due to COVID. Black Panther star Chadwick Boseman died in August of colon cancer. Diagnosed in 2016, he'd continued making movies while receiving treatment, never making his illness public. Industry watchers say Boseman could be the first actor ever to receive 2 posthumous Oscar nominations for Da 5 Bloods and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. 2020 saw more celebs go to prison in the Varsity Blues college admissions scandal. Actress Lori Loughlin began a 2-month sentence in October. Her husband, fashion designer Massimo Giannulli, started a 5-month sentence in November. And 2 years after he was first charged, Harvey Weinstein began serving a 23-year prison sentence in New York after he was convicted in February of sexual assault charges against 2 women. The former Hollywood heavyweight continues to insist all of his physical encounters have been consensual, even as he faces another 11 charges involving 5 women in Los Angeles.
I believed in the promises you made to me.
Finally, 2 major music acts changed their names to shed unwanted associations. The Dixie Chicks dropped Dixie, announcing they'd just be the Chicks, and Lady Antebellum shortened its name to Lady A, though that brought pushback from a blues singer who's been using that name for decades. Even in showbiz, it seems, nothing came easily in 2020. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
All right, the time is 5:26. Good Tuesday morning. It's a chilly start to our day here across the area as temperatures are sitting in the teens in some locations. To the north, Tipton at 19, 18 in Peru. A little warmer to the south, if you want to call it that, with the cloud cover in place. Bloomington at 27 and then 29 in Bedford. Where do we go from here? Well, it's a cold start, as you saw, and once the sun comes up after 8 a.m., we'll start to see the temperatures slowly moderate to freezing by the noon hour. The problem is the clouds are going to increase this afternoon, so it does become mostly cloudy. The best opportunity to see some sunshine today will be here throughout the morning hours, but temperatures hold pretty steady this evening ahead of our next storm system that'll be bringing some rain by about this time tomorrow. More on that and your latest news headlines and traffic coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
/Jefferson Awards. From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
Now at 5:30, hundreds of Indiana nursing homes are now giving residents the COVID-19 vaccine. We'll take an inside look at the process, helping those most at risk.
Plus the cold winter months and the struggles with mental health, a serious issue this time of year. Our Kelsey Anderson, she shows us how a Rush County man is using his story to help many others across central Indiana.
And good morning to you and yours. Time now is 5:30 on this Tuesday morning. Lauren, we are staying as warm as we can inside right now.
That is right. It was cold coming to work this morning. As you said earlier, Raphael, we know you get to stay in your living room. And with the kind of the roller coaster weather we have this week, today is the day you can just stay there, to stay put where you're at.
Do it.
But the big question, though, for Megan and Todd is, did Lauren break out the huge human scarf to keep herself warm when it gets this cold, Todd? That is the sighting that everyone must see before 2020 is over.
You know, I have not seen it in person, but I didn't catch her when she was walking in the door this morning, Raphael. So it could be around. My guess is it was on in the car, and then maybe she shed it. But it's not far away. I'll put it that way. All right, outside right now, you alluded to it. You need to bundle up this morning as you get going. You need the coat, the hat, and gloves. You may want to grab the sunglasses here this morning. That's our best opportunity for some sunshine here today. Ultimately, the clouds are going to start to move in. The umbrella you do not need today. but you may want to dig it out, dust it off, because you definitely will need it tomorrow. Teens to the north where the skies have cleared, 20 in Fort Wayne. As you work your way southward, a little more in the way of cloud cover across the state. 22 with partly cloudy skies in Indy, overcast skies in Bloomington still, and a temperature of 29 degrees. You can see the cloud cover here to the south will expand out, and you see the storm system for tomorrow. Don't worry about the snow. That is going to pass to our north, but we will get a decent amount of rainfall heading in our direction for the day tomorrow. But it's dry today, an opportunity to get out and about. Just again, need to bundle up a little bit. 21 at 8 a.m., 32 by the noon hour, 35 degrees by the time we get to 4 p.m. The temperatures actually hold steady and then start to come up a little bit overnight as that storm system approaches. More on that in just a few minutes. But right now, it's 5:32. Let's get another update on the roadways on this Tuesday morning.
All right, Todd, thank you. Let's take a look right here down on the south side. This is your commute at I-65 near Edgewood Avenue, just south of the 465 ramps. Everything here is traveling up to speed, but just keep in mind this is part of a long-term road construction project. We have traffic splitting off into two different sections. We have some road work happening in this area through May, so just keep this in mind. If you travel on the south side, or if you don't normally travel on the south side, this is something you may not be used to. So overall, we can tell you, though, it's not slowing things down at this early hour. Megan?
Thanks, Lauren. Now to the latest on COVID-19 and its impact here in the Hoosier State. The State Department of Health reporting 2,494 new cases of the virus. Indiana has had more than 496,000 total cases since the pandemic began. 152,000 of those have been reported in December alone, and 43 more Hoosiers have died with COVID-19, bringing the state's death total to 7,539.
Megan, nearly 1,000 long-term care facilities in our state are now distributing that COVID-19 vaccines to its residents. WRTV was there here in Johnson County as one of those facilities. The Aspen Trace in Greenwood began administering those doses on Monday. We spoke to Bruce Lech as he prepared to get vaccinated. The 91-year-old has 4 children, 9 grandchildren, and 7 great-grandsons. He's ready, he says, to see his family without a window between them.
My family can't come in, and I can't go out. And they can look at me through the window in my room, but that's as close as they can get. I'd like to see them in person. We can leave things here at the door, or I can leave things, they can leave stuff, but they can't come in.
Okay.
That's tough.
Officials say that pharmacy teams will make 3 visits to each long-term care facility to make sure that residents and staff receive their initial shot, then of course, that booster shot. This vaccination effort may take up to about 12 weeks across the state.
Well, Raphael, there may be more COVID vaccine doses out for distribution than we've previously reported. The FDA is saying that healthcare providers can actually squeeze up to 40% more doses from their existing supply. The guidance comes after some providers noticed that the vials meant to hold 5 doses of the Pfizer vaccine actually had enough for 6 or 7 doses. The FDA has now given the green light to administer those extra doses as long as they don't use more than 1 vial to create a new shot. The agency also clarified that Pfizer's vaccine should not be given to anyone with a history of severe allergic reactions. Some have been reported, and providers must have medication on site to manage them.
Lauren, now to the latest on the COVID-19 relief bill. The House has voted to increase stimulus checks to $2,000. The proposal is now headed to the Senate. ABC's Avery Harper has the latest on when we could see that money.
After unemployment benefits lapsed for millions of Americans and just before the government could have shut down, President Trump did what lawmakers on both sides of the aisle had been begging him to do: sign the government spending bill, which included $900 billion in COVID relief.
We're glad that the president finally signed the COVID relief bill,
putting many Americans who needed the money at ease.
It's an incredible relief. It will mean that I will only be dipping into a little bit of my savings. I'll be able to pay most of my bills. I'm grateful for that.
It's unclear when those eligible for the $600 payments may start seeing the checks, in part because of President Trump's delay in signing the bill. But Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin suggests it may only take a week or so. The House passing a measure Monday to increase stimulus checks to $2,000, an attempt to meet the president's last-minute demand. On Monday, the House also voted overwhelmingly to override the president's veto of the National Defense Authorization Act. The Senate expected to take up the issue this week. President Trump rejected the bill over a section that protects social media companies from being liable for what's posted on their platforms. The bill also included a provision that would rename military bases after Confederates, which the president opposed. The president overnight tweeting his continued support for increased stimulus payments, saying that the people have, quote, suffered enough. Sources tell ABC News that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell will speak from the Senate floor today, and that's when we can expect to hear more about how Republicans will handle the issue. Avery Harper, ABC News, Washington.
The time right now is 5:37. Millions of Americans struggle with their mental health every day. And this pandemic in the winter season, Raphael, we know is just heightening those struggles for everyone.
It is a serious health concern, Lauren, as you mentioned, for many people across our country and many Hoosiers. WRTV's Kelsey Anderson spoke with one Rush County man who's working every day to help others. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Raphael. So I spoke to Drew Hahn from Rushville, and he says that he knows the struggles of mental illness all too well. He says after his third attempt at suicide, he finally got the help he needed and is now able to talk openly and honestly about his mental illness and hopes that others can do the same. Now, Hahn tells me he attempted suicide for the first time in 2012 after battling an undiagnosed mental illness. He says after his third attempt, he got the help he needed and is now able to speak to others about his experiences. He says navigating this pandemic is hard for everyone, but for those dealing with mental illnesses, the pandemic plus the winter months and the holiday season is a very difficult time, and he asks everyone to work together right now and show empathy. He says if someone reaches out to you about their struggles, there's no right thing to say. Just try to be there for them the best you can.
A lot of times saying nothing even, letting them have the space, just hold that space. If you're talking on the phone, let there be silence, let them cry. There have been times my mom would lay next to me in the bed and just let me cry because she knew if she tried to say something, I would just be like, Mom, you don't get it. And a lot of times they will rebuttal if you don't get it, and that will be a common thing that you hear.
So for Hahn, he says besides talking to his therapist and his family and friends, journaling is what has helped him get through this pandemic thus far and now these winter months. He says he wrote a blog on winter depression, and I've got that linked for you over on the WRTV News app. Now, if you are struggling with your mental health right now and you're in Indianapolis, this is the number you can call. It's 317-251-7575. Again, that's 317-251-7575, or you can text CSIS to 839-863. And then, of course, in an emergency, you can always call 911. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, we appreciate you sharing his story. And the community is stepping up to help a Madison County family with 3 young girls after a fire on Christmas Eve destroyed their home.
There's nothing left in my room, my fiance's room, the baby's room, part of my middle daughter's room. There's clothes, but there's so much water damage that I don't think they can be saved.
Ashley Waldrop says the fire started in an outlet by their front door. Thankfully, no one was home at the time, and now the town of Frankton is rallying together to help the family. Neighbors have stepped up to donate clothes, bedding, toys, furniture, and other household items that they lost. Ashley says they have also helped save a Christmas tree.
It's crazy. Everyone has been, my phone hasn't stopped going off asking what we need, but I had someone deliver 2 boxes of gifts to my parents' porch Christmas morning. Mrs. Betts made stockings for my girls and myself. So we had stockings because they were in the house. And they just made sure that they had something to open that morning.
Definitely saved Christmas. A GoFundMe is also raising money for that family. The state fire marshal is investigating the fire. Time now is 5:41. Todd, it looks like we might want to bundle up, grab that big coat today.
Yeah, you definitely need to bundle up today, and you don't need the umbrella today, Megan, but you may want to dig it out today so you're prepared for the next few days, because look what happens to our precipitation chances here. By the time we get to Wednesday, they're high. They drop a little bit on Thursday, but then they come back up on Friday. There's 2 storm systems heading our way as we round out this year and head into 2021. Most of them are going to be rain, but there will be the potential for flooding as you add the rainfall totals up for both storm systems. To the south, we could see about 1 to 2 inches of rain. Again, this is for both storm systems, not just the one tomorrow. And then the rainfall totals will be a little bit lower to the north, but still well over an inch of rain. We'll break it all down for you coming up here in Maine Weather in just a couple minutes.
Todd, thank you so much. New information out of Tennessee released about that bombing in Nashville. Coming up, the latest on a possible motive and the new video released from the scene. We want to thank you for starting your Tuesday right here on Good Morning Indiana.
From Nature's Bounty.
Well, welcome back. New information this morning about the bombing in Nashville on Christmas Day. Sources tell ABC News investigators are looking into a theory that the bomber may have been motivated, at least in part, by a paranoia over 5G technology, Raphael.
And while that investigation is ongoing, Megan, a new video has also been released of the explosion from the perspective of one of the first responders on the scene. Take a look at this. That video from an officer's body camera that was just issued just a few days before the explosion on Christmas morning. Investigators say the suspect blew himself up inside of an RV. It was parked in front of an AT&T building in the downtown Nashville, Tennessee area. The FBI says information from neighbors and family helped identify the suspect. In that explosion, it injured 3 people and damaged more than 40 historic buildings in the downtown Nashville area.
And Raphael, there is an effort to help those who are affected by the Nashville bombing. An apparel company that's based in the city is selling these T-shirts. It's Project 615. They're selling the Nashville Strong shirts on their website, project615.com. They cost $25 and they're available in youth and adult sizes. The company says 100% of the profits will go to those who were impacted by that bombing.
A great cause, and many Americans were not able to travel like they hoped for in 2020, Lauren, but that didn't stop some people from trying to visit a new place or two. A new list from Priceline looks at the top destinations based on hotel bookings. At the top of the list, not a big surprise here, Las Vegas. Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, and Orlando rounded out the top 5. As for the rest of the top 10, Phoenix, LA, Denver, San Diego, and the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Oh, Todd, have you gone to any of those places?
Yeah, I've been to most of them. Phoenix, I haven't been to. I've been to Arizona, but I haven't been to downtown Phoenix.
A lot warmer than what we're seeing now.
That is true. That is true. As it is chilly outside right now, we are sitting in the teens and 20s all across the area. 22 degrees right now in Indianapolis. That's actually up a degree from last hour, and the reason is cloud cover is starting to build back into Indy just a little bit, where the skies are still clear. Temperatures are running a little bit colder. Greenfield 19, 18 in Peru, 20 in Tipton, where the clouds are a little bit thicker as you work your way into southern locations. Bloomington at 27, Bedford at 29. Thankfully, this morning we don't have a whole lot in the way of wind out there, so we're not factoring in too much of a wind chill. But with temperatures this cold, it feels like it's in the teens in Terre Haute as well as the Peru area. So you definitely need to have the heavier coat handy this morning as you get going on this Tuesday. Sunrise a little after 8 o'clock. It's not until then that we'll start to see the temperatures moderate a little bit. By the noon hour, we're up to 32 degrees. Then, unfortunately, this afternoon, the clouds will continue to thicken across the area, and it becomes a mostly cloudy day for us with temperatures that will be topping off in the mid-30s. Typically, once we get past 5 o'clock and the sun sets, our temperatures will start to drop off. As you'll see here in just a second, not the case for the day today. Here's the clear skies to the north, Peru over to Muncie. As you work your way down to the south, we're dealing with a little more in the way of cloud cover, but we'll expand out for you And here you notice the storm system. That's the first of 2 storms that are going to be impacting the area going forward throughout the next couple days. This one is going to pass to our north, and by passing to our north, I mean the center of low pressure is going to pass to our north and our west. What that does for us is it keeps us on the warm side of things. So with the exception of a brief wintry mix potential in northern locations by about this time tomorrow, is mainly going to be a rain event for all of central Indiana. Sunset tonight is at 5:29. You notice the temperature by 8 p.m. starting to come up. As far as the rain chances tomorrow, you'll need to grab the umbrella already in the morning hours as you walk out the door. And then look at the percentage of the coverage of the rainfall. Almost all of central Indiana is going to be dealing with a steady rain throughout the day tomorrow. It's a wet day for us. Thankfully, we are not going to be dealing with snow nor heavy rainfall. While the rain will be steady throughout the day, it's mainly going to be generally on the light to moderate side. We don't get into any of those real heavy downpours, but it's just slowly going to work its way through the area. By 5 p.m. starting to come to an end in northern locations. For those of you in southern locales, it's going to linger probably all the way into the evening hours. And then eventually, as the colder air comes in behind this front, there could be a brief changeover Thursday morning to a little bit of mixed precipitation. At this point, I am not expecting much in the way of any issues. The ground will be wet. The ground will be warm. Tomorrow, temperatures are going to be in the 50s. So anything that does fall wintry-wise should just melt away. And here are your rainfall totals for the first storm tomorrow. And you see it's about a ½ inch to an inch of rain across the area during the day on Wednesday. And there are those temperatures up around 50 degrees for tomorrow. A second storm system heads our way as we work our way into Thursday night and Friday. That one with temperatures initially right around the freezing mark. There could be a brief period early Friday morning as we ring in the new year of some freezing rain. Something we'll have to keep an eye on. It should be brief though, because look at the temperature. It shoots up to 52 degrees by Friday afternoon. Obviously warm enough for just plain old rain. The combination of the rain Wednesday and then Thursday into Friday, we're probably looking at 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of rain across some parts of the area. So on Friday, flooding will become an issue. Flooding's not a concern with the rain tomorrow, but when you add the two together, that's when we bring in some concern for us. And then heading into the weekend, we get a chance to dry out with highs in the upper 30s.
Thanks, Todd. Well, a cattle rancher is using his herd to say thank you to those on the front lines of the pandemic. How he created this stunning tribute after the break.
It's a name you can trust.
Welcome back, Raphael. It's a tribute to essential workers you won't soon forget.
This is simply cool. A cattle rancher in Nebraska found an incredible way to say thank you to, of course, first responders by using his cattle. Take a look at this. David Schuler lined up his red Angus cattle in a field in the shape of an EKG and a heart and captured the video with a drone. Have you seen this? He says he wanted to show his appreciation for doctors, nurses, first responders, and others helping us during this pandemic. So how did he do this? Schuler says that he put food down in the shape he wanted, and of course the cows just stood there to eat while he recorded the video. He said he had about 15 minutes to get that perfect shot before the cattle, of course, began wandering away. But what an incredible image with a drone. And just to be corny, because I'm at that age, that is simply moving. Hey, what about that, guys?
You know, it's amazing. It's amazing, Raphael, what a little food will do. You know, I grew up with some sheep. You just throw a little grain down there or some feed, and they'll just go to the food. Kind of like myself. You put it on the table, and that's where I end up in the dining room. So, all right, it's a cold morning for us here across the area. Temperatures are in the teens and 20s. Where we're a little colder here in northern and eastern locations, that's where the skies are a little clear with more in the way of cloud cover. To the south, temperatures are in the upper 20s. 22 currently in Indy. What's going to happen here throughout the day today? Well, the best opportunity for sunshine will be the first half of the day today, with skies that'll be partly cloudy. By the noon hour, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies and a temperature and that'll be right around 32 degrees. The transition to the afternoon hours brings more in the way of cloud cover for us. We go mostly cloudy, but temperatures as the clouds come in will hold pretty steady. We're dry today. That changes tomorrow. It becomes a very wet day for us. More on that coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.